Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 3 Wide TV. I'm Peter Short, and tonight we got live Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week for the American Sim Racing Series. This will be the first time the American Sim Racing Series has gone back to dirt since Eldora Dirt Week, about halfway through the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. And joining me in the booth here tonight, we got a couple of American Sim Racing Series regulars and late additions into the 3 Wide TV booth, both Will Worsler and Jared Haggerty. And wow, guys, going back to dirt, first time we've been here in a while. And I'll ask you first, Will, what are you expecting to see here tonight? This is a completely new racetrack, new to the iRacing service, and we've already seen some very interesting runs out there in practice.
Well, I mean, it's new to me. It's new to iRacing. I personally have no laps, no experience here. And I mean, the first thing that jumps out at you is most of the track has no wall. And so that's going to be something to keep an eye on and how the drivers are able to deal with that. Yeah,
the embankment on the backstretch is huge. I mean, you do not want to end up going down that thing. Here we are watching the number 87 machine. That is actually driven this week by Jay Crable, of course, new to the American Sim Racing Series. At least he'll be new to the Premier Series next year. So that is very, very cool to see. Ooh, a little bit of troubles there in turn number 1 and 2. And Jared, you know, racing dirt is very much unlike racing on asphalt. What are you expecting to see out of these drivers here tonight on dirt?
Well, this week I'm hopefully gonna see some big wrecks in here. Well, hopefully none of these guys will wreck on the first lap. But this track, I mean, it's really unique. It doesn't have an outside wall, and that's what I think is gonna throw a lot of these drivers out of the way. Sometimes you will see a little bit of wall riding when it comes to dirt racing, but I think we'll see a lot of drivers going off track there. But I really do think that these drivers will be able to navigate everything throughout the beginning and middle of the race. Will kind of be touch and go. Towards the end of the race, I do think they'll get a hang of it, and we should see some really exciting slide jobs here.
Well, it looks like we're going to have 4 heats tonight to set the lineup from this qualifying session. So far, 13 drivers have taken time. We do have a 5-minute warm-up in between the heats and the feature, but the feature tonight, 50 laps in the top 8 are inverted, which should be pretty awesome. But you guys have been mentioning it. This is a very unique racetrack, 0.4 of a mile in length. And you can see turn 1 and 2, very different than turns number 3 and 4. It's very unique, but you can see what line a lot of these drivers have been using. They've been kind of using that high groove, using all the horsepower that these modifieds have to get down the straightaways nice and quick. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not that inside groove comes in that 50-lap feature race. What do you guys think? Will, do you think that inside line is going to come in?
It'll be interesting to see if it comes in or how fast it is right off the bat. I've personally never watched a race here, and it's really going to be interesting to see how it plays out with the progressive banking they have here.
And Jared, with the limited experience that you have racing on dirt, very unique racetrack, some pretty high banking around this racetrack for a lot of the dirt tracks we go to, somewhat like Eldora without the wall. And I know at Eldora, it's sometimes wishy-washy whether or not that inside groove is going to come in. But based on what you've seen in practice, have you seen a lot of people dabble down there with the inside groove?
I do think they'll be able to eventually use the inside groove. I'm actually really curious to see if they're going to be able to use the outside groove. Again, it's going to be really treacherous throughout most of the race, that outside groove. But if they can manage it, I really do think we'll see some unique ways of passing actually during this race.
Yeah, it is very, very interesting. And we've seen a couple of drivers like Jay Crable as we came into the qualifying have issues up there on the top of the racetrack because they jump over the berm. And once you jump over the berm here, it's a pretty steep drop off, as I mentioned. So that will be something to keep an eye on here tonight. But do want to shout out Wicked Energy Gum for, of course, sponsoring the December Dirt Week here for the American Sim Racing Series. Very cool to have them on board for the few races that we have. Of course, tonight, tomorrow night, and the night after, we're going to have live racing here from the American Sim Racing Series on this racetrack, but with different cars. We're going to have, it's going to be very unique that we get to have different cars, pretty much the same drivers, but really kind of see their different talents. Different dirt race cars race very differently. I mean, you have the wing modified, the non-wing modified, and then we have these ump modifieds here tonight. And each one races very differently. I know personally, I prefer racing the wing modifieds. There's so much downforce, so much speed. You can really get those things sideways. But these little heavier cars with less downforce, you really have to kind of wait on those race cars. You kind of almost like racing the trucks like earlier in the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series season. And I know, Will, you had an interesting night that night at Eldora. Have you been able to drive a lot of these different dirt cars?
I have a good bit of time in the UMP modified. I mean, what I like about them and what makes them so difficult to drive is how narrow the tires are. With the super late model's got a lot of power. These cars have a lot of power, but the super late model has wider tires. You get a lot more traction, a lot more grip with super late model than you do in these, and it definitely makes them more difficult to drive, and it kind of separates them in from the boys.
Yeah, without a doubt. And of course, tomorrow we actually have a dual header. We got the 360 non-winged sprints, and then the 410 wing sprints, and then of course the night after Thursday night, we're going to have the late models like you mentioned. So it's going to be very cool to see here this week in the Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week here for these boys. But guys, I know it's not a super long off season here for the American Sim Racing Series. It's probably only a couple weeks before we're back racing for the start of the Premier Series season. But are a lot of drivers been looking forward to this to kind of get out there and do something different?
Well, from what I've seen, I've actually noticed that a lot of the guys are really excited about the upcoming season. We got, so far, I've seen 5 new rookies coming into the Premier Cup Series, but we actually do have a lot of people coming in for the development series, i.e. the truck and the Xfinity Series. So I do think it will be a great year overall coming up, but right now, this edition that we do here in December for December Dirt Week. This is just a really unique way, and this is pretty much bragging rights here for the rest of the year. If you win December Dirt Week, you have those bragging rights. And Will, I know everything depends on bragging rights.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the dirt aspect of it certainly adds some different elements to it. There's some guys that you would race on asphalt, and you kind of put them in your mind as well. They're that kind of driver, and if they're not fast, well, you get them on a dirt track, and the next thing you know, they're blowing your doors off. And there's some guys that are dirt guys and some guys that are asphalt guys, and it's kind of fun to see that play out on nights like tonight.
Absolutely. And of course, we have just under a minute left in qualifying. The racetrack has gone silent, at least for now, but Craig Stykes in the number 57 machine currently atop the leaderboard with Josh Gerlach right behind him in the number 63. So unless anyone can go back out there on the racetrack and set a lap time here in qualifying, that will be your front row. But one thing I want to mention, another unique feature about this racetrack that I was noticing in the practice session that we had, which was 20 minutes long, was right there on the front stretch. You can kind of see right by the start-finish line, there's some dark patches and some light patches. Those are actually some ruts that were forming on the front stretch, and those UMP modifieds going over those things were really hopping over those. So it'll be interesting to see just how much those develop in the race. And Will, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to race on a dirt track that is completely rutted in, but sometimes it can be just as treacherous as racing tight, close corners with other drivers.
Oh, absolutely. It gets tricky very fast. It's one of those things that it comes with seat time, and seat time kind of cures all, And if you don't have that experience, then it makes for a tricky race, tricky night.
Absolutely. Well, the field now starting to grid for the first heat. And we got J.R. Bash, who will start this one from the pole. Michael Whiting to his outside. Jay Crable will be the first on the inside. So that's actually your front row from qualifying. It had at the bottom of your screen, but we don't have the lineup here for the first grid, so I'll just have to read that out. You can see it at the top of your screen. J.R. Bash, Michael Whiting on your front row, like I said. Jay Crable, Jim Foos on row number 2, starting 3rd and 4th. Clarence Bonner starting from the 5th position in the number 99 machine, the very familiar number 99 of Bonner. Colin Penn will start 6th. Sam Maxwell 7th. Jared Haggerty 8th, and Sean Music in 9th. And I don't think Sam will be driving. Yeah, Sam will not be starting, so that will move at least the number 2 machine up into 9th. And yeah, Jared, you're down on pit road, not starting the race. So hopefully you can give us some insight. Very unique pit lane here only track in iRacing to have the pit lane on the outside of the racetrack. And I know they had to code that in not too long ago when they implemented dirt to have the ability to actually have a pit lane around the outside. That's not necessarily coded in to the initial iRacing code. I know it was in NR 2003 and things like that, but kind of cool to see that here. It's kind of a unique feature, and it's very, very tight there on the pit lane exit there. So hopefully those cars can make it through that little tight opening here in just a little bit. But should be a good race, boys. Will, you got any thoughts on this first heat? Who are you gonna take for this one?
I don't know. I've honestly never seen any of these guys. I don't know that I've seen any of these guys run on dirt. It's going to be interesting to see really these top three, Crable, Whiting, and Bash. I mean, I think it'll probably be one of those guys that'll walk away with this one.
And Jared, do you have any thoughts?
I've actually never seen most of these guys run on dirt, so I'm actually really interested to see what will happen in this one. It's going to be a wild one. It looks like there's 5 cars starting in this one, but I really do think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and it does look like that even though 9 cars are on the starting lineup, people like you, Jared, down on pit lane for the start of this one. So should be a good one. You see the number 4 machine, JR Bash, out there right now. He's got that 87 Jay Crable right behind him. And of course, Crable hoping to avenge that poor qualifying lap. We saw him go off the racetrack, so I'm sure he's hoping to get up there before this is all done. That number 22 machine was pretty quick in practice. I saw he was running some pretty decent lap time. So we'll have to see as the iRacing pace truck here goes around for one more lap. We're going to get set to go green here in just under 4/10 of a mile. That is the 1 lap distance around this joint, but really looking forward to see these drivers sling some mud at the fans here on the front stretch. And you can kind of see just on the left side of your screen there's that wall. It's not a real wall, but it's like a wall of dirt, that cushion, as you see the iRacing pace truck now starting to work its way off the racetrack. Disappears stage right, and we're about to get set to go green flag racing, and JR Bash on the loud pedal. That UMP modified kicks sideways, and we're a green flag here for this 10 lap.
Oh, spinner already, 66.
That is the 99 actually of Clarence Bonner, who's gone around in turn number 1. So that number 99 machine, Bonner, finally getting set to go back, but Bonner struggling here early on.
Looked like he caught more grip on his front end unexpectedly than he, just trying to shoot it in there and slide, and it just didn't slide enough.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see just how sideways these cars are out there right now. I mean, Clarence Bonner is one of those. And, Jim Foose in the 42 machine starting to struggle just a little bit down there on the inside groove. He's one of the only drivers electing to use that inside groove, doing battle with Michael Whiting in the 22 machine. Started on the front row in that car, but has now slid back into 4th. That 42 machine to his outside. You can see just how sideways they are. They're up in that dark stuff up there. And, that dark stuff up there is really
there
slippery.
goes Jim. Jim's up track.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the top line's proving to be tricky, man. He's all over the place. He's, that top line's definitely looking like it's faster, but, you're kind of facing risk versus reward up there on that berm. If your back tire goes over the edge, your whole car's going.
Yeah, and we mentioned that, at the top of the show, that could very well happen. You don't want to get over that. And Jim Foose is taking the number 42 machine to the pit lane here. So that is tough luck for Jim Foose here in the early running. But as of right now, JR Bash is your race leader, your heat leader, I should say, by 3.15 seconds. He's checking out over Jay Crable, Michael Whiting, who's in 3rd, and Sean Music, who's in 4th. And Music didn't run any practice or qualifying times, so I'm sure Sean is happy to be there in the 4th position here as this continues on. But like I said, Jim Foose off the racetrack, Clarence Bonner 10 seconds behind the race lead. And let's see if we can watch that number 4 machine go around the racetrack, because he's starting to venture down to the bottom of the racetrack here.
Yeah, man, the green flag fell, and he got a shot. He was like he shot out of a cannon. He's already got over 3.5 seconds lead on 2nd place, and he's not looking like he's slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, and you can see he's actually running the bottom in turn number 3 and 4. So that's pretty interesting to see him do that. But we only have 2 laps to go in the first of 2 heats tonight in the first race of the Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week. And getting reports that the number 99, Clarence Bonner, has also gone to pit road. So Jim Foose 6th, Bonner 5th. But we still have 4 cars out on the racetrack here in this heat. JR Bash leading the way, and now just about half a lap away from taking the checkered flag. And Will, what have you seen out of that number 4 machine that makes him fast?
Well, it's obvious to me that he knows how to find the grip on the track. You know, the most of the middle section and very well far up high is slicked off, and he's venturing down there into the lighter brown stuff. You know, where you can get a little bit of grip, and it's obvious to me he knows where to find it. It looks like he's ran on dirt before. You know, he's doing good.
Absolutely, and JR Bash does take the heat win over Jay Crable, Michael Whiting, and Sean Music. And now let's run down to pit road and let's see what Jared Haggerty has to say. Jared, what were you seeing out there on the racetrack from your perspective?
I was just really impressed with how the 4 was just working his way through the corner. He seemed to go through the middle of 1 and 2 very, very well, but then just slammed it to the bottom there going through 3 and 4. It was a really unique line that I really wasn't expecting anybody to use, but it seemed to be working for him. He was doing really well. All the others, the second place cars, they were going all forward. The 87 and the 22 was actually starting to run about the same lap times as 87 there towards the end. He was actually faster there the last 2 laps, and it was so I think this is going to shape up to be a pretty good race overall once everything shapes out.
Absolutely, and it does look like we will skip the second heat, so it looks like we will go straight to the feature here after this 5-minute warm-up session, and it'll be interesting to see out there whether or not the track conditions have changed, and indeed they have. You see that the track has been reworked. You see those dark grooves that we were seeing in the heat race have disappeared in the corner of the racetrack, being a little bit lighter. And Will, I know you mentioned it, that you kind of look for that lighter stuff because sometimes that's where the grip is, and I think these drivers will now kind of be grip happy out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, for any of them guys that just ran that first heat, you know, as slick as it was, they're probably not going to know what to do with themselves. Track's going to feel completely different the way it is now.
And of course, that kind of erases any benefit they might have got from running in that heat race, which is, you know, fairly fair, I would say, to all the competitors who were not in that heat race, your top 8 qualifiers who were out there. And of course, we do have the inversion. So 8th place will now start on the pole, and first place in 8th, and so on and so forth. So you go all those numbers. But nonetheless, it should be a very exciting race, and be interesting to see. And Jared, maybe you can back me up on this. For right now, everyone's up there on the top.
Yeah, everybody right now is up on the top, but I think once this race starts out, you're going to see a lot of people go to the bottom. Again, that 4 was working his way on the bottom through most of that race. We didn't really get to see him run against anybody, but I do think at some point that inside is going to be used. Even though a lot of these guys are using the top here in practice, I'm just watching the 4 going around here in practice right now. He's looking really good right now, but some other guys are looking pretty stout right now as well. I'm looking right now also at the it looks like sorry, I'm trying to get a number here. The 71 Richard Spire. He's actually looking really well up there on the top. Right now you can see him battling right now with the 56 with Brad Dyer just on this warm up. And again, everybody's looking pretty good so far. So I'm really interested to see how this race play out.
Yeah, everyone minding their P's and Q's here in this 5-minute warm-up session. We only have about a minute and a half left, as you can see up at the top left-hand corner of your screen. But Craig Stykes picking up where he left off in qualifying. Currently the fastest car out there on the racetrack, as is Kaz Bedford. Kaz Bedford up there as well. So good to see him up near the top. Zachary DeLong in the number 93 machine is in 3rd. And then in the 4th position, the number 71 machine, that is Richard Spar. So a few names up there at the top who didn't run in the American Sim Racing Premier Series last year. So definitely some dirt ringers out there, Will.
Yeah, some of these guys are definitely here just because it's dirt, and they're looking good out there so far, at least in warm up. I mean, these times they're putting up, and the way that they're as consistent as they're driving the high line. I mean, they're doing pretty good, and it's going to be interesting, like Jared said, to see if they're still going to be driving that high line come race time.
Yeah, and of course, you got to watch out for jumping over the berm. I just saw Josh Gerlach in the number 63 machine. He jumped that berm on the backstretch and ended up spinning off the racetrack in turn number 3 and 4, probably just trying to find the boundaries of the racetrack and the race car. At this point, of course, only 18 seconds left. And there's a number 22 machine as we just fanned away. That's Michael Whiting, of course, finished third position in that short heat race that we had, sporting the Exalta Logitech colors on that machine. And there is the unique pit exit. Ooh, 22 machine. They're going off doing some rally cross out there. That's not what you want to have happen. But, oh, and there goes the number 4 machine, JR Bash, going off there too.
That's two guys I've seen go over it and immediately jump back on it. And when they get back on it, the way their car yaws, it spins them out. It turns them right back off the track.
Yeah, same thing happened to Jim Foose in that heat race. So that will be something we have to keep an eye on here in this 50 lap feature. But all the cars now on pit road, and pretty cool to see a very unique racetrack. And Lernerville has a very historic past, and it's very cool that iRacing has brought this 0.4 of a mile racetrack to the service and getting a good view of that packed front stretch here. And very cool racetrack. I gotta say, this is a unique one out of all the dirt tracks that iRacing has brought in. This track just has a lot of feel to it, and it's very, very cool to have it. But let's go through your starting order. JR Bash, who won that the heat race, he will be starting mid-pack, so don't expect to see him up at the front. But we have Danny Rogers in the 95, Tim Knott starting to his outside, Kaz Bedford, Brad Dyer on row number 2. Row number 3, Zachary DeLong and Richard Spar. Josh Gerlach, Craig Stykes on row number 4. Remember, that was the two fastest qualifiers on row number 4. JR Bash, Jay Crable, 9th and 10th. Michael Whiting and Sean Music, 11th and 12th. And then you find Clarence Bonner and Jim Foose. Doesn't look like Colin Penn, Sam Maxwell, or Richard Stallings will be starting this one. Of course, we do have Jared Haggerty down on pit lane. In fact, let's jump down to pit lane. And Jared, you got any thoughts before this race? You hear anything from any of these drivers?
Well, everybody, again, is just really worried about that berm from what I'm hearing, especially if they get off it and coming back on track is mainly what I'm hearing is going to be the major concern. So hopefully that won't happen, and hopefully we can get a lot of good green flag racing here to start this race.
Yeah, we will have to see. I believe cautions are turned on. Don't think that caution laps will count as, ooh, man, someone up there, I think that was the number 56 machine, was already going off and jumping the berm. That's Brad Dyer in that car. And you're looking out the nose now of a couple of the cars going around the racetrack, seeing our 3-wide TV onboard cameras. Of course, we do have the track cameras brought to you by SimTV this week, and of course SimTV jumping all over a brand new racetrack, so very thankful for their track cameras. But we're about to get set to go green flag racing here in the first of the Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week A-Mains, and it is a fantastic start for Danny Rogers in the number 95 machine. We kind of saw that out of JR Bash in the first heat, but here comes the number 41, Tim Knott, trying to go, and look at this, almost 3 wide down the backstretch. Good racing action already. Look at Kaz Bedford down on the very bottom, or 3 wide through turn number 3 and 4, and finally back to 2 wide, but Kaz Bedford in that 74 machine down there doing work and really trying to find some grip and able to get around a couple of cars so far. Kaz Bedford started this race in the 3rd position, and he's still trying to make that inside groove work.
Yeah, so far, no wall, no problem. These guys are not afraid of the high line now. They may have had some apprehension in the first heat, but man, it's all fair game now.
So far, so good. Green flag through the first 3 laps now, and still up at the front. It is the number 51 machine, Danny Rogers, and a couple of cars smacking the wall coming out of turn number 4. There goes Tim Knott. Tim Knott in the 41 is the first one to go off the racetrack, and he's able to recover very well, come back on the racetrack without spinning that 41 machine, but that's going to lose a ton of track position from the 2nd position all the way back now to the back half of the top 10.
I gotta say, it's impressive. He's the first guy I've seen to go over the hill and then come right back immediately without spinning back out. So he did a good job there.
Yeah, and let me see what else is happening around the racetrack right now. The best
battle for
is
the lead,
for the
74
lead.
slap job.
And Kaz Bedford, like you said, Kaz Bedford just took the lead, but Danny Rogers is trying to get that lead back, trying to use the slide job, and Kaz Bedford doing the over-under here, trying to get back underneath that number 95. Now he's going to slide job into turn number 1 and 2. Great battle for the race lead here at Lernerville.
Boy, if you overshoot your slide job, man, you might have you might wake up in a nightmare, going over the wall here, or going over the berm, I should say.
And now you got the number 93, Zachary DeLong, down there in that machine. He's trying to make some noise in this battle for the race lead. Kaz Bedford, they're kind of blocked in, unable to do the slide job like he was hoping for. And now once again, back to single file up at the front as we have now completed 8 of the 50 laps in this one. Laps ticking off very, very quickly so far. Green flag, but as I say, that caution flag is out. There's a car around in turn number 4. It's the number 99 machine at Clarence Bonner.
Everybody seems to be in agreement that the top line's the way to go. Really the only time you see somebody going lower, at least the last few laps there, was if they were shooting underneath trying to do a slide job.
Yeah, it was very, very cool to see that, but I think Clarence Bonner there just pushed it a little bit too hard into turn number 3 and 4. We'll see this on the 3Y TV replay. Yeah, just pushed it a little bit hard into 3, hit that cushion and jumped up over the cushion, and off the racetrack he went. So Clarence Bonner will stay on the lead lap, however, so that is good news for him and that number 99 machine, but he is currently scored as the last car on the lead lap. But we're under caution here for the first time here tonight. Let's go down to pit road, and we'll see what Jared Haggerty has to think about this start to the race.
Well, this start's been actually pretty good, and surprised me that everybody's been using the top line, but it's been good racing so far. Kaz Bedford in that number 74 has shown he has the speed to get to the front. Right now finds himself in the 3rd position, and right now Danny Rogers in that number 95 is doing a really good job of just holding them off. And now look at, we got up there in 2nd. We got Zachary DeLong. He's been pretty much quiet throughout this whole time that Kaz and Danny were battling there, but managed to find himself in 2nd, and looks like we're about to go green here, so I'll throw it back up to you guys.
Yeah, and pace car lights are off, or pace truck lights, I should say, of course, with the iRacing official pace truck leading the way here. It will exit the scene, stage right here going through turn number 3, and man, it really is a steep cliff for that pace truck, but the green flag is back in the air, and Danny Rogers gets on the loud pedal nice and neatly, but here comes Zachary DeLong. He got a really good launch out there in that number 93 machine, slide job through 1 and 2, new race leader Zachary DeLong, but now the number 95, Danny Rogers, trying to come back, unable to do it here. Doesn't have the grip through the center of 1 and 2, a little bit of connection issues. New race leader of that number 93 machine.
Yeah, as that inside gets worn away and you see it start to get more of a glassy look, it's going to take away the ability for drivers to shoot down entering the turns and try to do their slide jobs. And so it's going to make your ability to run that high line all the more important.
Yeah, and that's one thing about racing on dirt. Your ability to find and race on that cushion is paramount. I know there are racetracks like
56-74.
Getting that contact back there, the 56 and the 74 machine. Kaz Bedford back there. Oh, contact! Car on the side! And the 71 machine now shot off into the grass outside of turn number 1 and 2. Can't even see him. He's so far off the racetrack. And there he is, finally appearing back on the racetrack. But that was crazy. 71 machine, Richard Spar getting up on his side, getting on 2 wheels there on the front stretch. And you see him wheeling it through the grass out there. Good news is he's still on the lead lap, but he's about half a lap down. And, Will, that can happen really, really quickly here on a dirt track.
Yeah, man, it looks like the next time we come to this track to do the broadcast, we need to get some guys with cameras down in the woods that could not find anybody out there at that time.
Caution is out. Jay Crable has gone around in turn number 3 and 4. He's trying to get that machine righted. We'll see if he's able to do so. Let's see this on the replay. Ooh, the number 99 machine of Clarence Bonner there making contact. And Jim Foose nowhere to go in the number 42 machine. Tough break for Jim. And I think Jay Crable looks okay. That doesn't look like a lot of damage, but we'll see this from the helicopter cam here. And just kind of looks like it coming together there in the middle of the corner. Well, I know that can be sometimes difficult on a dirt track to judge. Yeah,
I mean, it definitely can, especially with the way the track's constantly changing. This portion will be grippy one lap, and then it'll change, within a few laps, and all of a sudden, you're having to look for grip elsewhere. But if you go into a turn expecting it to act one way and it doesn't, it could, what you just saw happen. That's how it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And gonna go down to pit road once again. Jared, what are you seeing out of the track conditions right now, especially in the center of the corners?
Man, it is just slick as a dog out there. And right now, I'm just seeing all these people on this track be super, super aggressive. That number 57, that last 2 laps of green, muscled his way into the 3rd position. He went from 7th to 3rd in 2 laps. That was pretty amazing because he just stuck his car in there and just muscled his way, beat the 74 and the 56 literally out of the way. It was pretty much amazing to watch. But we're going back green, guys.
Yeah, going back green, we do have a couple cars on pit road. Richard Spar, Jim Foose, and Jay Crable all sitting in their pit boxes right now. And I think that those cars experienced a certain amount of damage, trying to get that damage repaired. But we have 30 laps to go here in tonight's first Wicked Energy Gum feature races for the December Dirt Week. And look at that number 93 machine, Zachary DeLong. Oh, he jumps the cushion, and off the racetrack he goes. He's going to go from first to worst. But caution is out on the racetrack. We have a car around Clarence Bonner. Once again, this has not been the night for that number 99 machine. And very, very tough break for him. Also getting reports that Richard Spar has been removed from the race. So hopefully he can come back tomorrow night. So nonetheless, getting word that is a black flag due to pitting under the green flag conditions. But there you see the number 99 machine just going off the racetrack, jumping that berm, going off in the dirt. And unlike the number 93 machine, he was able to keep it going straight. But for Zachary DeLong, he went from the race lead all the way back now to 8th.
Man, Zachary had it going on. He had exactly what he wanted. And, the green flag fell. He got one heck of a start and just completely missed the turn and went over the berm.
Yeah, very, very tough break for that number 93 machine from, like I said, first to almost worst in 2 corners. So we'll have to see if that number 93 can work his way back up through the field. Of course, now we're just 2 laps away from the halfway distance here in this first feature race. And Josh Gerlach, I was expecting Gerlach to work his way through the field a little bit faster, but he's been mired down in the 7th or 6th position for most of this event. He was one of the fastest qualifiers and just unable to get that number 63 going forward.
Jared mentioned the 57 being aggressive and going from 7th to 3rd on the last 2 green laps, and then we had the green flag fall, and he wound up in first. So he basically went from 7th to 1st in 3 green laps, and we're going to have to see if he can do anything with it now that he's got it. He's definitely got some hungry guys behind him.
Yeah, Craig Stykes was very, very quick, fastest qualifier here tonight. And, of course, with the 8-car inversion, he started this thing from the outside of row number 4, but has quickly worked his way up into the race lead here just now, passing the halfway mark, 25 laps down, 25 laps to go. Pace car lights are off. Looks like Jim Foose in the number 42 machine has taken it to the garage here. So that is very unfortunate for the number 42. I'm sure Jim Foose was hoping for a little bit better showing here tonight. But I'll tell you what, Jim, there's one thing about dirt cars, and dirt cars usually like to be nice and bright. Well, I think you need to throw some Menards yellow on your car for tomorrow night. But nonetheless, pace car lights are off. We're back to green flag action. Craig Stykes leads the way, and you can just see how much that number 57 machine lays over as they head off into turn number 1. But let's keep an eye on Brad Dyer. Brad Dyer's now worked himself up into second. Fantastic restart for this guy. Getting up there and holding on to the back bumper in the number 57 as although
full trouble. 93.
4 is going around. Boy, he saved it. He did a good 360 there.
A fantastic 360. Unfortunately for the 22 machine, he got the bad end of that stick, and the number 22 machine of Whit Michael Whiting shot off the racetrack. And we see that there on the 3-wide TV replay. Happened also fast, but really good little 360, like you said there, Will.
That one.
Yeah, that's a shame. Whiting's been fast tonight. He's really had some horrible luck and things. It's just not his night. Things have not gone his way.
And of course, this is the first of 4 December Dirt Week races that we have from the American Sim Racing Series. And, I mentioned it earlier that this is the first time that the American Sim Racing Series, at least from the Premier Series side of things, as we go on board with that number 22 Michael Whiting getting up on two wheels there. First time we've been on dirt since the truck race, and that truck race was absolutely awesome. And I know you guys participated in that race. And what were your thoughts after that one? Because that was a spectacular race that we had at Eldora back in mid-year, June, July timeframe. Yeah.
Well, for me, it was a tough race. It was the first time I had ever raced the truck at Eldora, and I can't. I think I actually started from the pole, but it all went downhill from there. It didn't take me long to mess my truck up and a few other people's, to be honest. And I think most of the parts of the truck wound up going to a yard sale before it was over with. I don't even think I finished the race.
Well, it was definitely an interesting race. I'll tell you that much. And make sure if you didn't watch it, go back and watch it here on 3Y TV. Of course, it is the American Sim Racing archives here that we have for our channels. Are fantastic broadcasts. But nonetheless, pace car lights are off once again, and I'm getting word in my ear that we have playlists. So if you want to indulge yourself in probably about 70, 80, 90, 100 hours of American Sim Racing Series action, you can. As we're back to green flag racing, Brad Dyer, good restart in that number 56 machine, but not quite able to do anything with the 57 of Craig Stykes, at least for now. But that number 56 is trying to hold on because he's being battled here by the 95 of Danny Rogers. Rogers completely sideways down there on the bottom. And let's keep an eye on Kaz Bedford in the number 74 machine. He's been lightning quick here tonight.
And these guys are having one heck of a battle for second. They're getting up close and personal, and they're going to figure it out one way or another. And it's going to be interesting to see. Can't wait to see who's going to come out of this.
Oh man, did you see Kaz Bedford there on the front stretch? He hit those bumps down there, those ruts, and we have a car upside down. Clarence Bonner on his roof in the 99 machine.
Man, this has not been Clarence's race.
It has not been Clarence's race. We'll see what happened to. Oh, it looks like he hit the ruts.
Yep.
And flipped that thing upside down, and it just skidded off the racetrack like a hockey puck. Yeah. And that number 99 machine will go to the garage.
Rubber on the sidewall is called the only part of the track that has a wall, and it just sent him over.
I like how that thing just slid on its roof nice and calmly, just kind of came to a halt. Doesn't look like too much damage on that 99 machine, but he will go to the garage because of it. Unfortunately, but we are back under the caution flag once again, and Clarence Bonner has been shown the black flag, so he won't have the opportunity to come back on the racetrack, unfortunately. But at least for now, Craig Stykes, your race leader here as we have 15 laps to go. And I was really watching that battle for the second position. It was a fantastic battle. And going down to pit road, Jared, what were you seeing out of that battle for the second position?
Well, right now it's clear that the 74 Kaz Bedford has the fastest car on the track right now. He is just beating the doors off that 56, trying to get by him. It just can't seem to get the line that he needs right now, especially with that car on the inside right there, Danny Rogers. He just really doesn't have anywhere to go right now. But what I'm seeing right now, Kaz Bedford's the one to watch right now. He's definitely the fastest car on the track.
All right, well, some very good insight down there from pit lane. Thank you very much, Jared. Really, really good run for that second position. We'll have to keep an eye on that one, and let's keep an eye on Josh Gerlach as well. Remember, he was one of the fastest qualifiers. He's now worked his way into the top 5 in that number 63 machine with J.R. Bash to his outside, who won the heat race that we had earlier. So J.R. Bash has got up a couple positions here in this feature race, but nonetheless, pace car lights are off. We're going to get set to go back to action once again here with 12 laps to go. A 12-lap shootout. Will, who do you think's got this thing?
Man, Craig's really been doing a good job of getting the start, and it looks like it's slicked off underneath. If he can get one good lap out of this thing, he may be able to hold it.
It's definitely going to be very difficult to pass here. That number 57 on the loud pedal once again. Green flag back in the air. The flagman waves feverishly, and ooh, wow, look at that 56. Brad Dyer trying to use that inside groove. Oh, contact right behind between Danny Rogers and Josh Gerlach in the 63 machine. Gerlach slinging it through turn number 3 and 4. Really tight for the second position between Kaz Bedford and Brad Dyer. Dyer now still trying to use that inside groove. Interesting to see.
4 off track.
Oh, J.R. Bash off the racetrack, and going off into the dirt and caution flag in the air.
And
So
these guys are not afraid to mix it up at all.
we'll have to see what happened here to J.R. Bash. And we heard from Jared down there that he went off the racetrack, and you can see they're already off the racetrack at that point. Maybe we can go back a little bit further. I think he was doing battle with the 93. Let's see what happened here. And maybe a little bit of nudge there, and then they were 3 wide. Tim Knott on the inside, the number 93 there in the middle of Zachary DeLong, and a little nudge there. 3 wide at the wrong spot on the racetrack, and unfortunately, J.R. Bash got the wrong end of the stick, as did the 93 of Zachary DeLong. So DeLong having issues here, and DeLong is on pit road, so I think he's going to take that machine to the garage.
Yeah, it looks like the 41 got into the 93, and it was just kind of a domino effect. You know, he hit the 93, pushed him up into the 4, and there it goes.
Yeah, too tight, and really the 41 of Tim Knott was actually getting a run on the 63 of Gerlach. So they were almost 4 wide on entry into turn number 3, and no one was backing out of it, of course, with so few laps to go. But unfortunately, the caution flag is back in the air here. But it won't be long before we're back to green flag racing. That's one thing I like about dirt racing is the caution flags tend to be relatively short versus the caution laps on a track like Daytona, that sort of thing. So we'll be back to green flag racing, probably with a 6-lap shootout here. Hopefully we can stay caution free to the end.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to stay caution free to the end. Again, there's only, I think, 8 laps to go here in this race, and I'm really hoping that these guys can put on a good finish here. I mean, they've been putting on a great race all race long. And who are y'all's picks right now? Because right now I'm looking right now, and I'm thinking that 57's got this one in the bag at this point.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I've been watching the 57 trace that outside berm. I mean, he looks like he's got that high line down, and that's what it takes to be fast. If he can keep doing that without going over, he should have it.
Brad Dyer's only opportunity, I think, is right here on the restart. If that 56 can jump the restart just a little bit, time it perfectly. And unfortunately, he was caught sleeping there just a little bit, because look at that inside groove. A little bit of a nudge there, side-by-side contact with Kaz Bedford. And that 74 machine's going to sail it off into turn number 1. And Kaz Bedford's going to take that second position. So Brad Dyer from second back to third now in that 56 machine, caught sleeping just a little bit, and he's going to run the inside groove to try and see if he can get around Kaz Bedford. But like you guys were saying, especially Jared, that number 74 machine, Kaz Bedford, looking very, very quick, but there's only 5 laps to go, 4 times by the start-finish line this lap, as now 4 laps to go. Very, very quick, only 1.6 miles. This has been a very, very quick race here, but it's been pretty action-packed.
And that 74 is pushing. He's exhausting the entire racing surface out here. Just pushing the edge of that berm, not going over. And, I mean, he's doing a good job. He's really doing all he can. But 57's, you know, he's got his line down. And with the track worn the way it is, it's going to be hard to do anything with it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if Kaz Bedford decides to jump down to the inside groove or not here, to just try something a little bit different, because we only have 2 laps to go. It's not working up there at the top side of this racetrack. Only 0.8 miles left in this one. That 57 machine, Craig Stykes, pulling away here just a little bit. Last time by was about 1/10 of a second faster than the car right behind him. But this racetrack, very, very treacherous. White flag in the air.
White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for the 57 of Craig Stykes. He's made 1 and 2 look good, and we're going to see if he can do it at the other end of the track.
And coming out of turn number 4, the first winner in the Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week will go to Craig Stykes. Coming up second, Kaz Bedford. Brad Dyer holds on to third after a very spirited charge by the 63 of Josh Gerlach there. And rounding out your top 5, who'd have thunk it? Tim Knott in the number 41 machine is rounding out your top 5 with a very solid finish. 6th goes to Danny Rogers, 7th Jake Crable, Michael Whiting 8th, Sean Music, and J.R. Bausch rounding out your top 10. 9 cars finished this one, but only 50 laps, but a very, very exciting race here tonight. And now we'll go down to Jared Haggerty. And Jared, what were you seeing out of those last final laps?
Man, that 74 was trying everything he could to catch 57, but to no avail. Craig Stykes just brings him the win tonight. Great run by him. Great way to find the lines that work around this track, especially with no outside wall. He was able to just get on the edge that whole time and bring him the victory. Great run by Craig Stykes.
Yeah, absolutely great win and a great way to start off the Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week here from the American Sim Racing Series. But we're going to step away for just a brief moment. Hopefully, we can line up some interviews for you with some of these drivers here tonight who just are getting off the racetrack right now and getting out of their race cars. We'll be right back here on 3Y TV. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 3Y TV. It is the conclusion of tonight's first Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week races, and I believe that Will Worsler has caught up with your fourth place finisher driver of the number 63 machine, Josh Gerlach.
And that was what.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with the number 63 of Josh Gerlach. Josh, you had a good night, man. You showed a lot of speed. You was second fastest in qualifying. With the way it played out, you started seventh. And you worked your way up and wound up coming away with fourth place finish. I mean, you had a hard battle there at the end with Brad Dyer. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, the format, it was a little different than what I'm used to. going, straight from qualifying, and then the way they inverted the top 8, not heat racing at all. So that was a little bit different. And then having the track reset, I was just talking to Craig there, kind of in the green room there, and it was weird. You had everybody kind of fighting for the top early on, and then the bottom just kind of started coming in. And with Brad there, we were fighting pretty good for the last couple of laps. But overall, it was a good race. Happy to move forward.
Did you feel like that it was difficult to run the high line with the risk of going over the berm, or was that anything that played in your head at all?
About the last 5-10 laps, yeah, for sure. You could just kind of see it getting more slicked off as the race went on. And again, Craig and I were kind of talking when the track got reset, I think it kind of threw it off a little bit compared to how with the racing kind of wearing it in. Maybe took away the possibility of having more of a middle or a low groove. But overall, like I said, I'm just happy that I moved forward and look forward to the rest of the races this week.
Well, you definitely moved forward. You moved from 7th to 4th, and you was in and out of the top 5 the whole time. There's a lot of aggressive driving going on. You did a really good job coming away with 4th tonight. Is there any shout outs or anything for anybody you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, for sure. Just wanted to thank everybody that tuned in. I know had some family watching tonight, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. I want to thank Swindell Speed Lab, Netcode Esports, the iRacers Lounge podcast, and Racecraft One Motorsport Simulation Training for letting me do what I do. Can't wait for the rest.
Well, good job and congratulations on your 4th place finish, Josh.
Thanks, Will.
Yep, back to you, Peter.
All right. Well, yeah, back up here in the booth, I'm getting word that we actually just had someone jump into the Discord server that we're on, and that would actually be the 3rd place finisher here tonight, Brad Dyer. And I believe that Jared Haggerty is going to go catch up with that number 56 machine. And Jared, take it away.
Yeah, Brad Dyer. This is Jared Haggerty up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Yeah, man, it's going pretty good. It looks like you had a great run there. Started 4th, ended up getting 3rd here. Tell us about your race and what you saw out there on the track.
Well, it just seemed like the cushion at Lernerville, took its toll on a couple people, and I just kind of was biding my time. I wish we would have had some more green flag laps because the bottom was starting to come in there, and I get a couple of good runs there. One caution, I went from 7th to 2nd. So I think the bottom could have come in about another 10 laps of green or so.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that Highline was starting to slicken up there a little bit. But talk about your race. It looked like people were being very aggressive out there towards the beginning and middle of the race. Did that really affect your style of driving? And how was it getting through all that?
Yeah, I just kind of had to pick and choose. I'm not a very aggressive driver unless I have to be, unless people are being over aggressive with me. I like to pass everybody clean and fast. It's just, you just have to take it as it comes is basically how you do it.
Well, absolutely. Well, before we let you go here, you got any sponsors or shout outs you'd like to give out?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my HRE Motorsports team, my wife for letting me do this crazy hobby.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And Carlos, I'm going to hand it back up to you because I think you caught up with our 1st place finisher there.
I did no such thing, but why don't we catch up with Peter, who has actually caught up with the 1st place finisher. Peter, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Yeah, Carlos is just my little interlude there, but nonetheless,
I'm sorry about that.
I'm the unpaid intern.
He's the unpaid intern. We'll call him that. But nonetheless, I'm down here in victory lane with the number 57 machine, Craig Stykes. And Craig, you started this thing in 8th. You were the fastest qualifier, and you showed that pace once you got out front, stretching your legs there on a couple of green flag runs. But we had those caution flags to keep you on your toes. And I'll tell you what, you really put on a good show here tonight. Tell us a little bit about the night from your perspective. Had you raced here at Lernerville before? It's, of course, due to the iRacing service. And just tell us about the track conditions and how those changed.
Well, I need my team owner to give me a little more info on the race event because I had no idea we was inverting. and I thought I got disqualified and missed my heat. I didn't know what happened, but no, I'm just messing with him. It's on me. I didn't read it, and I didn't know what was going on. But it was a fun race. The track was pretty tough. Just you just had that small little lip around the top, and had to lay the right rear on it, and that's really the only way you could be fast. But it was a lot of fun. Just kind of biding my time, trying not to wreck anybody at the start. And once I was able to get to the lead, just hit your marks. That's all you can do. And I about messed up on one of the restarts. I took off earlier than I wanted to and didn't get the angle off the corner. And I think it was Brad maybe that got up under me, and I thought he was going to throw a slider, and I was hoping he wasn't because it wouldn't have been good. The track was so slick, you'd have just slid off the track. But everybody raced me clean, so it was fun.
Yeah, well, we just heard from Brad Dyer that he thought that inside groove might have started to come in just a little bit better at about 10 more green flag laps, but that outside line was king here tonight in this one, and it's really a good way to start off this Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week. And will you be racing here tomorrow night? We got the winged and non-winged sprints here at Lernerville tomorrow night.
That's the plan. If I can get home in time, I may have to tag the end of a heat race or something. But if I can get home in time, I'd like to race it. I don't have any experience in those cars at all, but it'd be fun to, just try it. So that's my plan. Plan on running all 3 nights. But I don't know. We'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, it is very, very cool to have this kind of week-long event that Wicked Energy Gum has jumped on board for here in the American Sim Racing Series. But Craig, I know you probably have a few choice words for your car owner, that being the person sitting next to me, formerly number 29 of Will War 3, usually number 29 here in the American Sim Racing Series. But as well as shouting out Will, do you got any other shout outs for us?
Yeah, he's more of my babysitter than a car owner. He has to do everything for me. So, but I appreciate
accurate.
He makes it a lot of fun, and I don't get a lot of time to get on here, so he makes this stuff easy for me. I got a shout out to Slice Pizza Bar, the Perky Pints app. There you can get that on the App Store, Google Play. Will Worsler Racing teammates. Thank you to my wife. She takes care of my 2-year-old and lets me play games every now and then, so appreciate her.
All right. Well, I can slap Will for you tomorrow night on the broadcast for not telling you about the 8-car inversion. But nonetheless, you experienced that and you overcame it. Got the checkered flag here tonight for the first of the 4 Wicked Energy Gum feature races. And congratulations on that, and hope to see you again tomorrow night.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the broadcast, and hopefully catch y'all tomorrow.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your race winner driver, the number 57 machine here tonight, Craig Stykes. And I believe that we do have league owner and organizer, the number 42 machine of Jim Foose. And unfortunately, Jim, wasn't quite your night in that number 42 machine, playing with that outside berm just a little bit too much, and then having your night ended when you ran into the back of a spinning car, which was very much tough luck. There was nowhere for you to go. But this is the first of the 4 Wicked Energy Gum feature races. And I'll tell you what, Jim, there's 3 more good races for you to get a good finish. What are your thoughts about running this dirt week?
It's always exciting to do it, but just really disappointed in our run tonight. We just kind of lost the handle in the heat race. The track was really worn out, and figured that we'd just save everything we had for the feature. And I don't know what to say. I mean, I saw somebody run into somebody ahead of me, and that car was spinning around and just rolling backwards at a slow pace. And thought I could make it around it before it rolled up the track completely, but doesn't work that way. And it's not very easy to stop one of these dirt modifieds. So, oh well, it was a rough night for the Ford Performance machine of ours, but we'll rebound hopefully and see what we could do in the week-long deal.
Yeah, I said in the broadcast that you need to get some bright yellow so everyone will know where you're at. And I tell you what, the sponsor to have a little bit of bright yellow on the race car with Menards. So wouldn't be at all surprised if we see some bright yellow on one of your cars here this week. But nonetheless, Jim, it is the Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week. Pretty cool to have Wicked Energy Gum on board.
Yeah, definitely. Back to the yellow thing. We'll have yellow on the side panels of the front wing tomorrow night with Menards, but was not part of tonight's package. So, but yeah, Wicked Energy gum. It's a great product. Pretty cool. You don't have to drink an energy drink to get energy. All you got to do is chew a piece of Wicked Energy gum. And what's kind of nice about that is I drink a Red Bull or something like that during the day. I seem to taste it for the rest of the day. And with Wicked Energy gum, it's got a great mint flavor. And but it's not overbearing. It's not something that's going to stick with me for the entire day. So, but the energy does. Just the aftertaste does not. So no aftertaste and a great taste and great energy in the gum. So really happy there. Matthew's done a lot for Wicked Energy December Dirt Week, and just really excited to have him on board. And it's pretty cool to have a World of Outlaws sprint car sponsor as our esports December Dirt Week sponsor. So thank you to Wicked Energy Gum.
Yeah, very, very cool to have them on board. I know I've had one of their competitors' energy gums before, and I'll tell you what, that thing left me with the worst taste in my mouth for the entire day. So Wicked not having a bad aftertaste is a very, very important thing, especially for someone trying to both get energy but also enjoy chewing gum. But Jim, we got 3 more races. Of course, 2 races tomorrow night with the winged and non-winged, and then the dirt late model the night after that. 3 very good races looking forward. Is there any one of these cars in particular that you enjoy driving the most?
I think tomorrow we're not going to call them non-wing sprints. They're traditional sprint cars, by the way. I stand corrected on that. So they are traditional sprint cars.
Obviously, I said a buzzword.
I think that the traditional sprint car race is going to be pretty exciting. I don't know how we'll fare in that. The winged sprint car should be pretty entertaining. Those things are pretty much glued to the ground. So that's going to be really exciting. And then, of course, 75 laps with the super late model on Thursday night. Anything can happen, and hopefully something dumb like tonight doesn't take us out. I was talking to Jay in the pits. He asked what happened, and I says, "Yeah, we got taken out on like lap 12 or something." So I don't even know how far we made it in the race, but we were knocked out and just really disappointed in that. But thankful to be here and thankful for Wicked Energy Gum for putting it on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will see you, of course, again tomorrow night for the 2 races, the traditional sprint cars that better and the winged sprint car races. Should be a good time, Jim, but hopefully a little bit better luck next race tomorrow night.
Hey, I gotta ask, I know you guys brought Jared Haggerty with you to the track to do some TV work this week.
Here we go.
Did you guys lose him at the hot dog stand, or did he find a pretty girl down selling T-shirts or something? And where is he? I haven't.
Yeah, well, he was in the booth with us for a while. Then all of a sudden, he just started walking out the door, and he ended up on pit road. And we don't really know how that happened, but it really worked out for us.
It was a fried bologna sandwich. Thank you very much.
He was probably in the mood for some Wicked Energy gum. That's what it was.
It'll get out the taste of the fried bologna.
All right. Well, Jim, like I said, best of luck tomorrow night, and hopefully you can get that number 42 in victory lane. All right. Well, I believe we have one more interview lined up for you here tonight for this first round of the Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week, and that is the number 87 machine of Jay Crable, and I do believe that Jared Haggerty has caught up with that number 87 machine.
Hey, Jay Crable, this is Jared Haggerty in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Well, man, it looks like you had a pretty good run out there. I can't even talk right now. You managed to finish 7th out there, but tell me how the overall race went for you and how everything was run out there, because it looked like it was pretty slick.
Yeah, guys. Well, first, let me apologize to Foose. I know he's pretty upset that I took him out of the race there, so sorry about that. But yeah, it was actually pretty treacherous. Everybody thought going in this race that the high line, going over that berm, was going to be the scary part, but it actually turned out to be the front stretch with all those.
Absolutely. And it seemed like everybody, especially early on, was being super aggressive there. What was your experience, and how did you manage to stay out of trouble that whole time?
Well, I was at the back. I was pretty slow, so it was kind of easy to get away from people. But my main goal was just to stay on the track and finish the race, and I just kind of kept that in mind. There's no reason to get tangled up.
Well, hey, slow and steady wins the race sometime, and it seemed to work out for you. Coming away with a 7th place finish. And before we let you go, you got any sponsors and shout outs that you want to get to?
Yeah, absolutely. Victory Lane Quick Oil Change. They're going to be on my car all year next year for the Premier Series. So I got to thank them. Glassdoor Brewing, Racing Warehouse, and of course, Wicked Energy and ASRS for putting this on tonight. Thank you.
We thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you the rest of this week.
Thanks. See ya.
All right, guys. Well, it looks like I think we're wrapped up on interviews here, so I'm going to throw it back up to Peter.
Yeah, we just have one more thing left to do, and that is go through tonight's final running order. And, of course, taking the win of 57 machine, Craig Stykes. Finishing in second, the 74 machine, Kaz Bedford. Good run for him. Brad Dyer comes home third. Josh Gerlach, the 63 machine, we talked to him, finishing in fourth. Tim Knott rounds out your top 5. In the 41 machine, Danny Rogers was up near the front for most of the race, but that number 95 machine slid back into the 6th position at the finale. Jake Rabel comes home 7th. We just talked to him. Michael Whiting in the 22 comes home 8th. Sean Music 9th. And JR Bash rounds out your top 10. Only 9 cars finished this race. Zachary DeLong, we saw a good run out of that number 93 machine, but he hit the berm there just a couple times, and that number 93 machine fell back in the field, and he comes home in the 11th, 12 laps down. Clarence Bonner finishes in 12th, 17 laps down. Jim Foos, we heard from him, a little bit disappointed with tonight's run. Hopefully he can bounce back tomorrow night. 32 laps down. Richard Spar in the 71, 14th place here tonight. Colin Penn in the 52, 15th position. Sam Maxwell and Jared Haggerty, of course, not starting as well, unlike a lot of the other drivers. Colin Penn also did not start this race here tonight. So, very interesting race here tonight. Kind of sets us up for tomorrow night with the traditional sprint cars. Hopefully Jen's listening. He found out that I've learned. And the winged sprint cars. That will be once again here on 3 Wide TV tomorrow night for rounds 2 and 3 of the Wicked Energy Gum week. And just want to say, Jared, Will, great having you guys in the booth here tonight for this one. And hopefully you guys can jump back in the booth here soon.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be here too. I'll try to get in tomorrow, but Will, I hope you do the same too.
I'll do my best.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. And also thanks to Carlos Acosta, the man who mans the cameras here each and every week on 3 Wide TV. But before we go, got a few shout-outs. Got to thank SimTV for the camera angles that you saw here tonight around the racetrack, as well as our friends over at OCR TV, Thomas Morris, who put together this graphics package for us that we can use here on 3 Wide TV. And, of course, everyone listening and watching in the chat, got to give a shout-out to Nikki Warser, Jay Crable, Kimberly Stykes here tonight, as well as Wayne Badsall. Wayne saying, Craig Stykes is my boy. Somebody put him in a real car. Well, we'll see. Hopefully someone can. But nonetheless, we want to give each and every one of you a wonderful good evening, good night, whatever the case may be. And we'll see you again this time tomorrow for round 2 of the Wicked Energy Gum Dirt Week. See ya.